Okay, looks like everything's working now. I had a heck of a time getting this controller to work. It was working fine last night, but tried rebooting all sorts of stuff. It's one of the 8-bit Do. I'm assuming that's how you say it, 8-bit Do. It's one of their SNES controllers. Or SNES, I guess, as some people say. Just making sure everything's up and running. Yeah, I'm using an emulator, Heigen? Another thing I don't know how to say. It's my first time using it, but it's supposed to be like the most accurate from a hardware perspective. And so far, I like it. Also, this is a neat background. I think it's official art. It's... Who's... Alexa's talking to me, jeez. There, I muted it. Yeah, this is similar to the box art, but it's better, I think. It's got Samus in the same pose, slightly different shading, and then it has Kraid, I believe, and Ridley. It's got this nice texture on it, and I'm assuming it's because it's a scan of something, but I like it with this texture. It kind of feels like scan lines or something. Anyways, before diving into the game itself, I wanted to show some of the media accompanying it. So I want to start with the Japanese commercial.
これがメトロイド。
まだ幼虫だ。しかしこのエネルギーは人類の役に立つかもしれん。あ、ベビーメトロイドが奪われる。
緊急指令。スペースハンターサムス・アラン。さらわれたベビーメトロイドを奪い返す。
スーパーファミコンソフトスーパーメトロイド。とてつもない地下要塞が待ち受けている。
Gosh, that's cool. I love the janky walk that Samus has once the armor is on. It's yeah, it's not all aged wonderfully well, but I think it's this perfect combination of 90s coolness and janky special effects. And then there's a huge contrast with the US commercial, or one of the US commercials. There was one that was basically just a bunch of gameplay footage, and the VO was funny, but not funny enough to just watch gameplay footage of like some bad like rip from a TV in the 90s, like. But this other commercial.
Before Nintendo came out with Super Metroid, we wanted to make sure it was the most intense Metroid battle ever. So we thought we'd see how Killer here would fare against it. Ready, boy? That's 24 megs worth of weapons, worlds, and weirdos old Killer's up against. Nintendo's biggest game ever. He's a big boy. He can handle it. Well, let's see how he did. Ship it! Super Metroid, only on the Super NES.
Yeah, that's something else. To me, it says that they had a lot less faith in the game because they're not really showing much of the game. And, the Japanese commercial, when it's not showing game footage, it's showing things in the world of the game. And this is not, it's a sterile science environment. And then it's like, when it does show game footage, it's very quick shots and basically just the boss fights. And nearly every boss fight. So it's not really giving a flavor of the game at all. It's just trying to be as extreme as possible. It's showing a traumatized Chihuahua. Just interesting choices there. Oh yeah, I was talking about the box before. I think it's important to show that box art. And this, to its credit, I think is representative of the game, and it's accurate. It's not like the Mega Man NES cover where it's just like, not only is it poorly drawn, but it doesn't look like anything in the game itself. There are other examples, I can't think of them, where they look like they're from a completely different game. This is accurate. Her suit looks accurate. You have the boss Ridley again. Ripley? It's Ridley, right? Because it's named after Ridley Scott. But yeah, this is pretty cool. I can see why it appealed to me as a kid, and we definitely had this box. I think we bought our SNES secondhand, and I don't know if our parents would have bought this game for us, but I'm pretty sure it just came with the console. So big props to whoever bought that thing first and sold it in like '96. Yeah, some of the copy in the back of this is fun. I like the Great Lizard Kraid. Can knock down enemies with a killer somersault. So 90s. "24 megs of action." Battery backed memory. Ooh, baby. And then one last thing before diving in, I feel like it's super important to look at the manual, because this is one of those games where not only did we have this manual, but I poured through it religiously, and it actually had a major impact on how I played the game. This game has kind of a famous example of that we'll get to as we scroll down. But first of all, it's just got some fun art. Like, I don't think you see this Samus anywhere else. Certainly not in this fidelity. It gives some story background for anyone that hadn't played the NES game or the Game Boy game, and honestly, probably people that did play it still needed a bit more context. The early part of this series is famous for not being very in depth with its exposition. It's funny because it's also giving the story at the beginning of the game. So I'm not going to bother reading this stuff out loud because we're literally about to experience it. It's funny how that spoiler culture just doesn't really exist. So this is a very important page because the game does not have tutorials that pop up for how to do things. And infamously, it never tells you there's a dash button anywhere. And you never really need to use that dash button, except for one extremely important place where it's the only way you can progress. And as a kid, I think because I was looking at this manual all the time, it wasn't an issue, and I knew that I could run faster with that button. But when I was replaying it in college, I just loaded a ROM and jumped in, and I was probably like using some horrible setup like a laptop keyboard or something, and just never even crossed my mind that there was another speed I could run at. And then if you go online, you'll see that a lot of people have that problem these days. But I don't think it was nearly as big of a problem when gaming culture was all about reading manuals like this and having beefy content that really told you things that you couldn't find anywhere else. Especially if going online is not really feasible. So it's teaching you how to use the menus, which I think is funny. Clarifying what every single thing does. It's funny, there's the moonwalk feature. I remember seeing that once and thinking, is this like a hacked ROM? But no, it was in the original. I don't like to play with it on though. teaching about maps. We can kind of gloss over this, but again, cool art in the back. Like you can see the front and profile of Samus there. Like it's pretty neat. It's teaching you how to save a game. And then this is cool. This is a little map. There was a similar map in the manual for Metroid 2, the Game Boy one. And they both are really broad overviews. But also, again, probably beneficial in helping people not get stuck. Because if you don't know how to progress to the next section, you could look at this and get just the big picture. And I bet often that's all you would need. You could see it in the top right. Oh, there's this wrecked ship. How do I get there? Or you could see the connection between Brinstar. I always said Brinstar as a kid. That's one thing I should address now. As a kid, we said the names of all these things wrong. I said Zebes, and I think it's Zebes. And I'm probably just going to revert to how I said them as a kid. Goes through every kind of weapon you can get. So I guess there's no surprise as you start to get them. Tells you the suits that you get. It's, it didn't seem like a problem at the time, but I started playing this game so young, and I think I saw my brother beat it before I did, so it's kind of like The Empire Strikes Back, where I don't remember ever getting the big spoiler, like twist at the end, that kind of thing. It was just, I always knew this, and I always knew the beginning and the end of this, it feels like. Oh, yeah, this also gives the names of all these enemies, and I don't remember these names, and I probably won't know a single one outside of bosses. But, I appreciate the art that accompanies it. Again, it really helps flesh out what they look like outside of these few pixels. It shows the bosses ahead of time, which the American commercial we watched also shows. But it's all well laid out. Basic. Ouch. These are some funny names. Mocktroids. I forgot the Mocktroids exist. Ouch. And yeah, it's giving like a lot of backstory here. There is a pristine version of this manual as a PDF, but I think having this beat up one is just so much more accurate to how ours was, because it was creased and it had been, thrown under beds and stepped on. And it'd seen a lot of love. Yeah, you just don't get this anymore. And with that, I think we're ready to jump in. Hopefully all my problems have been sorted out. Fingers crossed. And I need to put on headphones, I forgot. So much atmosphere, I love it. It's really cool. And look, there's corpses. This is a Nintendo game that has corpses on the main screen. See the little baby Metroid key, the key part of the story. I'm gonna let this run a little bit, because I also think it's funny that it shows you the very first thing you're supposed to do in the game. You can even see Samus looking left and right as if like, where do I go? Is this something where they just didn't have much faith in the player being able to figure this out on their own? It was a pretty new medium at the time, that would make sense. But yeah, it's showing one of the first puzzles, I guess, if you could call Red Doors a puzzle. Ways to dodge enemies. It does these freeze frames, which I like. You know, this is it's like an arcade though. It's like an arcade machine showing you like demos of the gameplay. But in this case, it feels like it's the closest you get to a tutorial in this game. I love how they pause on the right in the middle of the turn. It's one of the few times you see that sprite of her turning. I think this is the last one. Is there another? Yeah, okay, that was it. So hopefully this controller's working. God. Yes, great. Yeah, so I'm using what looks and feels like a SNES controller, which I think is a key part of the experience here.
The last Metroid is in captivity. The galaxy is at peace.
I love that line read. Iconic. And here we go, the only plot we're given. And it's mostly a rehash of the NES game. And the Game Boy game will follow shortly. Is it A or P? Okay, A. I loved how in Other M it had these rings as kind of foreshadowing of a potential Mother Brain fight. Because our 388, that's the Game Boy game. It's cool how they're remaking these moments from earlier games and other consoles. It's nice to see them in this aesthetic. And I had played the other two before playing this, but I'd never beaten them. This was the first Metroid game I beat. So this was actually helpful context. And I think they just had to bank on people not having beaten those games. It's a cool style too, this grayscale, like they're really getting a nice range out of that palette. It feels like you're reading a manga. It's cool. Drama. So as a kid, I was probably like, blah, 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 blah. Okay, here we go. Yeah, look how rich this blue is. And I love how the yellow suit that you start with stands out against just this like extremely monochromatic blue room. It's just great art direction. And it's aged, I think, terrifically. Okay, so I don't need to shoot that door. The way the rooms fade in and out is nice too. And how the doors stay illuminated. These are just really nice touches that help this game feel like it's just still really polished. And the way her visor glows. So here's the main menu. That's also just a great contrast to be able to like. You just saw the Metroid here. You know that the Metroid is gone. It's storytelling without having to have, say, another like VO thing pop up. It's all just like through context, subtext, both, I guess. Here it is. Let's get that Metroid. Oh, interesting. Looks like the black parts of Samus's sprites are blue here. Oh. It's a great theme, and it's one that many, many later Metroid games have repurposed as Ridley's theme, or for countdowns, which this game is also famous for. I feel like I'm doing pretty well here. And no real story reason for why I don't have any power-ups from the last two games, but you know, that's just kind of how it goes. That's right, I can aim with left and right. I'm just gonna have to assume that this emulation is accurate. Whenever like the sprites disappear, I just have to assume that's how it was. Not bad, not bad. Self-destruct, okay, here we go. And now all that blue is now this like really rich red. It's just such a great touch, and it's a nice gradient too. The green at the top. Yeah, and it does affect her suit. I've never noticed that before, but the black points of the suit are now this red, and it's like a light wrap when you're compositing. It just like integrates into the scene so nicely. You have the environment falling. I'm just gonna be waxing poetic about this game the whole time, but it's just like a masterclass. And the disorienting tilt. Okay, it feels like she's disappearing a bit longer than usual. But yeah, I have to trust that the emulator's accurate because I don't remember these things well enough. The stars flickering feels off too, though. Yeah, maybe it's not as accurate as I had heard. It's also possible I didn't set it up right. A great little cue there, though. Just that, like, ominous synth sound. It's nice. And already, look at the vibe here. How gray it is. You have weather effects. Granted, the weather, the rain doesn't look great. You can see how tiled it is, but it's still got the atmosphere just perfect. You can see Samus breathing. And it's kind of eerily quiet again. Just like the beginning of the last one. Look how dark it is in here. Then I need to go down there. Right. Or is it here? Oh, I don't have the power ball yet. Of course, I have to go here. Look at the way that visor's blinking like that. It just feels so alive. It's a great fall sprite there too. So I can't go there because I don't have the power ball, the morph ball I think it's called officially. Although that probably changes. Yeah, it just feels creepy. It feels like you're in a graveyard, which I suppose you are. And it's a good way of leading you through, because there's only one path, but it still feels like you're exploring and like you're aware of how many places there are that you can go. So even though this part of the game is very linear, it still feels like you're branching out and like the world's unfolding. Yeah, and just these like hazy cloud overlays, they're very simple, they're clearly limited in how much they can animate, just moving diagonally, but it's a great touch. So from that story intro it gave us, we know this is where the fight with Mother Brain happened, and I'm standing right where Mother Brain was. Again, it's just great, like, subtle storytelling. It's juxtaposing, like, images that we've already seen. So actually I haven't said this on the stream yet, but I've been playing through all the Metroid games, or almost all of the Metroid games. I didn't beat the NES game or the Game Boy game. I might still go back and play that Game Boy game again, because I really do love it, but I opted for Zero Mission and Samus Returns, which were both remakes. I played through the Prime series for the first time. I just did Other M recently, which I liked much more than I thought I would. And it was my first time playing Fusion as well. Fusion was great. Different, but great. So I probably need to go up now, but... yeah, because I can't bomb these yet. I can only shoot those. Although I could shoot down, couldn't I? Can I do anything here? It's funny, I've beaten this game probably 5 or 6 times, but still don't remember a whole lot. Broad strokes I remember very clearly, but specific room-to-room stuff, I'm just not very good at that kind of navigation. So the term for checking for secrets in these games is carpet bombing, I believe. And I'll definitely be spamming walls a decent amount here because that is how you find a lot of things. Get used to the jump mechanics here. Oh wait, so I have the missiles, so I might as well go right here before heading back up. I believe select is how I... yeah. No other Metroid game that I can recall has it so you need 5 missiles to open a door. Maybe the first game does, the NES one, but none of the following ones have gone that route. I didn't talk about this the last time there was one of these, but this is another just great suspenseful touch, because I feel like I'm being watched now in what has up till now felt like a graveyard. It's just so ominous. So I don't think I can go through here yet. But yes, I did know that was there. Oh yeah, let's practice the run. Yeah, so this is the run button. I should get used to doing that now. I'm still getting used to the controls in general. Yeah, the select to cycle through the inventory, which right now is just 1, that's also something that you don't see in any other game that I can recall, any other Metroid game. The 3DS one preferred having a separate button for as much as possible, and I think using the D-pad to cycle through menus, if I remember right. Just look at that sprite for a second. The little glowing chest screen or light, whatever that is, that's a nice way of like breaking up the symmetry and kind of balancing with having the gun on the other side. Although you'll notice that it's the same sprite on both sides. Which, wait, no, it's not. They did get separate ones on each side. So I must be thinking of the Game Boy. The Game Boy one is the one where it's the same. So this is the first time that you've seen a separate left and right animation for Samus. Yeah, because look at that arm move. I love that. And having the gun swing like that. It's such like it's a gung-ho animation. That's great. I love that. It's that classic floaty jump too. Oh, we got the space pirates. Forgot that was a thing. Give me that missile. Oh, he got me. It's our first health pickup. An interesting thing that I found playing Other M is how there's no health pickup like this. I think every other Metroid game I played has a health pickup. Fusion, you know, it's a little bit different, but it's still, that mechanic is still very much there. This is a great way to kind of get used to jumping and fighting at the same time, though, which is not something you've had to do so far. It's yeah, just incrementally building up the gameplay. On the research station, you manage jumping, and then you learn shooting, and now we do both. I love how weak these guys are. Enjoy it while it lasts. I'll probably die while playing this game too. I'll probably have a few deaths. But hopefully they're not embarrassing ones. Oh, speaking of embarrassing. Samus had a little bit of vertigo there. Too many rooms like this would get so tedious, right? But, you know, it does accomplish a few things. It's the gameplay instruction, like I mentioned, the very kind of subtle guiding hand. And also just the sense that you're traveling really far. And just how deep this planet goes. You're getting that first taste of the depth. And now suddenly it's so much brighter out here, and we have these new enemies that weren't there before. We have the ability to unlock these rooms that we'd already seen. Okay, so I keep forgetting which is jump and which is shoot. Strong guy. Okay. Yes, please. A pretty good jump height to start with. Pre-high jump. This is one of the higher jumps for the Metroid series, it feels like, as a default. Ooh, I believe that's a map. In this environment, even though it's clearly... Oh, wait till it goes back. That's a good amount of the map that is showing already. Wow. It's labeling all these areas I can't get to yet. It's not as in-depth as the one in the manual that we looked at, but it's still quite more than I was expecting. And it's funny, none of the other games, to my knowledge, let you just select and unselect. Like, I could turn off the morphing ball. And I can see why the other games just didn't even bother, because almost all the time in this game, if you have an upgrade, you want to use it for the rest of the game. There's maybe a couple times where having a high jump is awkward if you're trying to navigate like a really short room. And I think there are times where you don't want the ice beam and it's just easier to use the plasma beam. You know, if you're strong enough where you can one-hit kill enemies, for instance, but with the ice beam you're just freezing them unnecessarily, that kind of thing. But in general, I think the later games were right to get rid of the unnecessary complication. And here's our first save. Oh, I was going to talk about these rooms earlier. This one's it's darker, which is interesting. It's a nice contrast to the save, to the light of the save thing. Maybe that's why, to really draw your eye to going here. If so, that's clever of them. But yeah, just seeing like these little bubble things, whatever they are, having some broken. They're clearly tiled, but they're offset from each other, and much of the room is literally tiles, but it still feels organic. Not organic in the literal sense, but just feels, you know, not as repetitive as it actually is. Uh-oh. Oh yeah. Yeah, some people criticize the floaty jump. This was my first Metroid love, so I think it's hard for me to have a problem with it. It was really nice in Other M. Yeah, maybe it's pandering, but if so, it worked. Seeing these particular creatures again. I thought that they were faithful to the original designs, and yet they were like fresh takes. I really liked the aesthetic of them. Some had glowing eyes. It was really creepy. It was cool. This is probably a good place to dash. Let's try dashing. Oh yeah, look at that. Maybe to the game's credit, that's a subtle way of teaching you to dash, but quite subtle. Oh, this is power-up room. I think I know what's about to happen here. This is going to be a bomb, and then there's going to be a surprise. Look at that cute little Samus sprite. Not very accurate. Feels like the NES one, though. Is that intentional, or is that just a limit of the size? Okay, set it with X, so that's the shooting one. I don't even have the charge beam yet, do I? Look at that creepy music. Some missiles, thank you. Some health, that's great. I know that in some of my later playthroughs of this game, I have died at this point. So let's... Oh, it's lost its head. I'm doing okay. No more missiles. Yeah. So yeah, those awkward moments where I'm invisible completely. It happens only in fights like this. Is that part of the original game? I might seek out a stream of someone playing it on a SNES just to see. Because it's running 60 frames per second, and I'm not... Other than like maybe the flickering stars in the opening cutscene, I've not seen anything that seems totally inaccurate. And here's a great way of teaching you to use the bomb, right? Because you can't go back up the left. And you can't shoot these. The only way out is to use that bomb. It's clever. This game just excels at that kind of thing. I forget which game it is now. Maybe it was Samus Returns, the 3DS one, that had it. So there's one button to look at an angle, and then you had to change directions. Similar to how I'm doing here, but that was the only way you could look up. I remember having a problem with that. It's nice just to have a dedicated button for each of these, and I use them quite a bit. And look, you can see the way that her head is kind of changing angles there. It's not just something that's oriented. You know, it's not a clean rotation. It's looking a little more left here, looking a little more right there. It's just it's well made. So here's one area I can go to. Probably not the only one that just opened up, but I went back and forth on whether or not to emulate with sharp pixels or with kind of a blurry CRT look. There wasn't a massive difference, but things like, for instance, up top with the energy text where it shows in the white font how much energy I have, like those blue outlines are kind of lost a bit more when it's blurry. It feels more like a glow. But I figured for a stream I should probably start with it looking as sharp as possible, and it'll probably get blurry all from YouTube's help. So, oh, we need. You know what's funny? Okay, so they're the same color, but you can only take them out with missiles. I think this is the only Metroid game that has identical looking enemies with different weaknesses. I think any other one would have them be, you know, gray, or have them be red maybe, if, you know, like the first Prime game was very much color-coded like that. Or it would broadcast what weapon to use based on the color of the enemy. Okay, I think I know what's over here. Yeah. Creepy track, I love that. And this was also, I believe, on the back of the box we saw this. Yeah. Which is maybe their way of saying that this room's important. but I think also just showing that it's you know, it's an interesting room. You can tell there's a story here. And there's probably enemies here, huh? No, it's still empty. This room is just to kind of like build the importance of that room, right? Give you this moment of like curiosity and like reflection. Glad I went that one first. It's definitely a room I forgot about as a kid. Can I even take this guy out with them? Nope. Well, yeah, let's get... It's a long time to be invisible. I'll try not to bring it up every time, but yeah, I'm curious. I could see it being the way it was in the game. I could see it either way. Being an emulation issue or just being an unusually long time to kind of be in that damage invisibility state. Oh wait, let's practice the... Yeah. Is there a way to do a double jump like that? Maybe if I do... Yeah, I don't know. This is a great track that's starting. It's A+. Because now we're getting like this spunkier music, right? After it's been mostly quiet and eerie. Now it has that sense of adventure that the last two Metroid games start with, is a track that feels peppy like this. I don't recall the composer's name. He did the NES game, but not the Game Boy game, I believe. But both of them have great music, I think. Is this that long room? Yes, this is the long room. Okay. So I believe this is maybe the one that you need to... Let's get one more missile. Come on. Hey. Can we... Yes. Oh, not fast enough. But worth it to get that missile. Nice. It's funny how much... There's just this inherent language to Metroid games, which I'm very familiar with now, having played most of them, but... And also from growing up with it. I just know that if, for instance, I'm in this room to the right, and it seems like I'm trapped, I should probably bomb my way out, right? And each game has a slightly different language in terms of that, but... when done well, they evoke the same. Almost like stereotypes of the game. And then they can subvert those expectations. Yeah, there's another example of that. And again, part of my brain probably remembers that too, but I also just know that's a very likely spot for a bomb to be in a game like this. And it's riding this line of being predictable without being boring. You know, keeping things interesting still. Okay. Yeah, that's quite a lot of map information they just gave. It seems like most of the other Metroid games don't lean on map rooms quite as much as this one does. There's ones like Fusion that are very map heavy, but it feels like it's less about, you know, this like fire hydrant map room kind of thing. It's a nice way of teaching us that some doors can't be opened until you fight enemies. Well, let's go back to that save. And it is very nice of them to show you what a save room is after you go to that map. Hey. There's a lot of, I think the last two Prime games, Prime 2 in particular, were just these moments where I'd be so stressed trying to find the closest save room and trying to not stumble onto a boss fight first. It's nice to know. Okay, I'm gonna take a quick break just to fill up my water glass. Okay, I'm back. Thanks for waiting. I wonder how long I've been in the game itself. Probably about 25 minutes, half an hour. Seems like a good idea to go left. See what this power-up is. Ooh, cool. I love the concept of not just being able to kill all these, having to keep them alive, having to learn to control your jump height. This is one of those examples where it might be easier if you turn off your high jump later in the game. Although, I probably wouldn't just because it's a pain, but we'll see. You don't see many of those in the later games either. Some of them, I believe some of the primes don't have save stations recharge your ammo. At any rate, some of the Metroid games do and some don't. I don't believe this one does it? I don't think this one gives you your health back. Oh, power bomb. It's another one of those things you would know from the manual. You'd know that symbol means power bomb. I'm almost positive it was there. I try not to use missiles on fights, even with like annoying guys like this. Just because you need so many for the doors, and I have so few right now. You know, I'd hate to say have 4 and then be stuck behind a door and have to backtrack. So even though they're kind of whooping me like they always do. Oh, this screams speed boost later. Oh, and in fact, this is a very important speed boost location, yeah. So that's maybe a way of foreshadowing it. Oh, I thought I could get away. Yeah, different games rely on these like small like ammo farm. I think the fans have another term for these. I don't recall what it is. But yeah, some definitely have them. The Game Boy game is an interesting case because it has a ton of them. But the further down you go, the further you progress in the game, the fewer of these you have. And then I think the original NES game. It's pretty brutal when you have to backtrack to find one of those. When you're in the end game, it's... Oh gosh. Let's just go. Thank you. Up or down? Down. Charge beam. Cool. I didn't remember that you start without it. You really start with nothing in this game. There's a couple Metroid games that you start with all of your items and then it takes them away after the prologue. And then there's a couple where you start with most of them anyways and then you just get newer different ones. I've played all of them pretty much back to back, so I'm gonna do a bad job of remembering what was what. Oh, I can probably use the bomb. There we go. Yeah, I kept wanting to do like a spring ball bounce and I couldn't. One thing that I wish this game had in the menus, in the map, is showing what doors are what. Like having that marked as a green wall on my map. So once I get the super missiles, I could know to come back here. That's one of the hardest parts of this game, is then knowing to come back here. You can see that's marked blue, but there's definitely going to be moments where you say, what's in that corner over there? And you see, oh no, it's a power bomb. I needed a super missile door, you know. It's part of the exploration. It's part of getting you familiar with the map, but it's also pretty tedious at times. I don't think there's anything for me over here. What about? Excuse me. Oh gosh. I wanted that health thing too. It's gonna be gone by the time I get there. At least you can see that. So yeah, I mentioned this briefly earlier, but I love how when you turn, you see that front view first. I don't believe either of the prior two games had this. The NES one certainly did not. But it's a great way of just adding volume and dimension to Samus. It's a really nice touch. I could do it all day. Okay. It's probably a power bomb. No. Well, how do I get there then? Well, I guess now's not the time. And I need to go this way to get out. Okay. Pretty repetitive tiles here in the layout. But interesting layouts, which I think helps. All sorts of different shapes. Oh yeah, let me use that charge beam I have now. Gosh, yeah. Definitely an old habit of mine to just run around with it charged. Recharged. Okay, let's save with health at 73 just to see, does it refill? I don't think it does, but maybe it does. Like that little flicker. Yeah, so we're at 73. I think there was only one other Metroid game I played that didn't do that. I'm getting booked here, which means I'm gonna have to hang out. More alien genocide here, which I guess is Samus's specialty. I do like how the save stations refill in most of the other games. I think it's something that this could have benefited from. You know, I think cutting down on moments like what I just did is okay. I think that... Oh god. For the sake of pride now, I have to top off again. Oh, and I'm one shy. Come on. It didn't spawn that time when it was over there. Must have just been poor timing earlier. But one, I think, really important aspect of the series is that simple enemies should be really difficult, or at least moderately difficult at first. And the damage they deal should be reasonably punishing. And then by the end of the game, you should just cut through them with a single hit, just like butter. And that's part of that sense of progression. Oh boy, boss fight. I don't remember the name. But I do remember being scared as a kid. I think I tend to just do this morph ball in the corner. Yeah. I'm not even sure that the little spores can get to you. But tough luck there. And now it's going to be the other side probably, huh? It's the downside to this strategy. Creepy music though, isn't that great? Oh. Whoa. I could wait down here as well. That's probably better than waiting in the corner. Getting those 2 hits in is nice. That's, I think, as much as I can expect to get. You can the color changing as he gets more damaged, as it gets more damaged, I think is really nice. Oh, risky, but it paid off. It paid off. Generous. You know, it's the first boss fight, really, because Ridley, you can't win. And I'm not even sure you can lose. But yeah, the way the speed increases, but it still gives you plenty of opportunity to get more health and missiles with just a little bit of cleverness on your part, which that was not clever what I just did. Yeah, the difficulty of that speed now, I'm feeling it. It's just another example of the game being good at slowly building you up. Hey, what's up, Polygonzo? Sorry, I don't know how long you've been here. I didn't see that till just now. Oh no, get me out of here! Ah, robbed. Oh, can only get 1 in there. Gonna have to get new missiles in a minute. I bet I can make it. Look at that, it is a little safe spot. It was clever of me to find this as a kid. Great. First boss, yeah. I was saying probably right before you came in, I think it's a really nice introduction to like your first real boss fight. This is cool how the whole room is changed to this like monochrome tan and the enemies now like your platform. That's neat. Yeah, I think, you know, this is a boss that gives you lots of weapon and health spawns and starts at a very slow speed, and then the more you damage it, the faster it gets. It's a great way of just kind of building up the difficulty in a natural way. And this whole stream has just been me talking about how good this game is at introducing these concepts without having, you know, a pop-up ever tell you how to do something. And at the very beginning of the stream, I was showing some of the commercials and the box and the manual. And when I booted up the game, I let it run, and after the menu, it shows some like key scenes from early in the game. I think specifically to be like a silent tutorial. So if you got stuck, you could watch what to do. Other M did not have that little fanfare, and I really missed it. Every time you picked up a missile, it just felt like things froze, almost like, is the game still running? And then it would resume. But it's like, come on, that's the perfect place for that little nostalgic fanfare, that little like dopamine rush of getting a new item. I like the pace this is handing out new upgrades at too. Because it really feels like things are unfolding at an exponential rate. Oh gosh, I'm not standing in a good spot. Yeah, and here's a great way of saying, okay, you have to use the super missile to get out. It's done that for every power-up you've gotten so far too. Like, you get the bombs, and then the only way to leave that area is to use the bomb. So it's... Yeah, now it's showing me what the block looks like for these. And I'm not even sure I've had a missile block yet, so that's introducing the concept of those blocks in general. Oh yeah. So I recall there being a green door. I was saying earlier, one thing I wish that this game had that most of the other Metroids have is on the map it'll show a green wall there to indicate that I've seen a green door. Makes it a bit easier to kind of navigate once you find new power-ups. Oh, I didn't save. Should I save? Alright, I'm just gonna wing it. Risky, but trusting my abilities to not die with stupid creatures here. Another thing that I was saying is that I think the later games having it so that save stations refill your health is a smart choice, because it just prevents too much of this farming like I'm having to do right now, which a little bit is probably inevitable, but you know, save it for like boss fights and things. Can I only have 3 super missiles right now? There we go. Yeah, it takes a bit too long. This is the first kind of that door. I've run into one before, but I wasn't sure how to open it. It's another thing that it does a good job of building upon with then the super missile and then having the wave beam needed to use them. Is this another run point? Yeah! So this is the famous spot where if you did not look in the manual, which I pulled up at the beginning of the stream, you would not know that there's a dash button. And you wouldn't necessarily need to use the dash button. But you can just get royally screwed. And it's something where as a kid it wasn't an issue, but revisiting the game as an adult without the manual, it was a real problem for me. Probably in college 5-10 years ago. Oh, I'm actually not sure. Oh god. I'm not sure I know which one you're talking about. I'll be curious to see that. Okay, and with this, I think I'm going to be stuck down here for a while. This is probably a save room or a map room. Yeah, it's the most infamous, they call it like the noob bridge or something. I think the noob bridge, yeah. Just because, you know, if you go on like the Metroid Reddit, it's just gonna be people saying, I'm stuck here in Super Metroid. Speaking of stuck, I'm stuck here. I'm almost positive there are no Walking Dead sections of this. So there must be something that I can do here. This might be the first time that I'm stuck. Oh, there we go. Just took a tricky jump. This is another great track. And not one that I recall hearing remixed on any later game, which I think is a shame. Oh god. Unless... this might be in Prime. I don't think it is though. Oh, so this is on Heigen, which I think was formerly BSNES and then branched. I think it was made by that one late dev that recently passed that everyone's a fan of. Great room, important room, one that I'm sure I got stuck on as a kid. But yeah, I picked this one because it's apparently the most hardware accurate. And it's been running at 60 frames per second, which is really nice. There's been a couple things I pointed out that I'm not sure if they're accurate. One was the some stars were blinking in a cutscene when I felt like they probably shouldn't have been, and another is when I get damaged, I seem to be invisible for a very long time. But I'm not positive that those aren't in the original game. I've seen people able to get to this sooner. They probably had the high jump, but maybe you need the screw attack. I forget, but yeah, speedrunners I believe are able to get there. Speedrunner, I am not. Yeah, the flavor rooms are great. There's a long tunnel that leads to there's the room that has the boss statues, which is, I'll point to it again. Here on the back of the box, the bottom left quadrant there. And there's just this long tunnel room that leads up to it. It's a great way of kind of telling you that it's an important room, while also kind of, yeah, just let it build up in importance and maybe dread. I keep wanting to say dread in regards to Metroid games. I recommend going back to the beginning of the stream just to see the use of color, where some rooms are like this bright blue. The very first room you're in is this bright blue, and then Samus is this yellow. But then once the station is about to detonate, it's all this bright red instead. And also it's changing the palette of Samus subtly, so that the black point of her sprite is now red or is blue, and it's like a light wrap, and it just integrates her into the scene. I don't see one in this, but in particularly vibrant rooms, you'll see it just to kind of tie her in with the palette. Oh, get me out of here! No. Yeah, in the maybe 40 minutes that I've been playing, it just feels like I've covered so much ground. I've gotten so many useful power-ups already, and I've progressed very deep into the planet. Almost to the point where I always feel like I'm in over my head, right? Okay, now what do I do down here? This is some of that famous carpet bombing here. There we go. It's been a while since I've had a save, so I would not mind one. This is tricky. You gotta get really quick. Oh. Missing something? There we go. Whew. A couple of these games really train you to just have this like perfect reflex for things like stacking bombs, which I've not been able to do yet. I can't recall if it's in this game or not. But yeah, one doesn't get you high enough, and I think this game lets you have multiple ones. I seem to recall doing that quite a bit as a kid, but if it does exist, I haven't gotten the rhythm right. And it's funny because each one of these games has a different rhythm if they do have that feature. And then a lot of them have since limited how many bombs you can trigger at once. I'm not sure this one does though. I'm setting off a ton. Okay, how do I get out of here? Oh, I just jumped through there. Oh, I could have shot that? Oh. So I did that really tricky dive in for no reason. Typically, I think that weird bombing rhythm is to get into areas sooner than you could later. Maybe not sequence breaking, but just... Okay. Can I not get through here until I get that thing? Oh boy. Yeah, it's like if you want to be really tricky, then you can... There we go. You can do some of those more finesse moves. So I don't have a map for any of this. Now I'm really in the dark here. There we go. Great. Sequence making. Yeah, this is, I think, of all the Metroids, certainly one of the most famous for sequence breaking, and one of the ones that set it as the one that set it as a trend. Oh god, oh no. Prime is maybe a bit better for sequence breaking. Maybe Zero Mission. They're all like pretty good at it, but this is the one that really made it a thing. But something I've never really cared to do, and I'm not sure I've ever even done it. I like the way the game unfolds. And I like how the game, even though it's one I've beaten many times, has that feeling of, am I in the right place? Like, as I was jumping down into Norfair, just that thought of like, oh god, I hope this is the right time for me to go down here because I know I'm going to be stuck here for a while, you know? I think that's a good feeling in a game like this. As long as it's not overbearing in the sense of removing the fun because it's so stressful, which Prime 2 was that. If any like serious Metroid geek finds this stream, I bet they're gonna disagree with a lot of my opinions. I think one of the reasons I love this series so much is that there's not a lot of clear-cut fan opinions. This game being a masterpiece is one of them, but in general, there's a lot of differing opinions on which Prime game is the best and things like that. Okay, I can't go in there yet. A lot of fans will say they like... Yeah, see, that's weird, right? That's got to be an emulation error. A lot of fans will say they prefer Zero Mission over Super Metroid just because it polishes a few quality of life things. And I get that. But they're wrong. I love an ice beam right now. Oh god, oh no. This is why. Cool. Trying to figure out what is needed to get up here. I don't think I did. Oh for 2. Oh for 2. Oh no, and the only way I can get there. Great. Yeah. Well, another thing I was saying, I think, before you got in is that I just like how... Oh no. Oh, I screwed up. I gotta go to the right then, don't I? Can I? Isn't that where it's hot? Okay, it's my first time of getting turned around here. Yeah, this jump is cruel too, because you gotta... Like, how did I do this before? Is it a running jump? Because I don't have a double jump. Well, I was able to get it pretty quickly last time. Yeah, this is the floatiest of all the Metroid jumps. But it's also my first Metroid jump, you know. Oh god, this is like too tricky. How did I do it before? You know, the Metroid jumps don't get really satisfying until you get all the power-ups. Once you get like the screw attack, like you better believe it's satisfying. Oh god, what do I do here? Can I stack these? Oh no, you can't even get that buoyancy. You can't lift up. Okay, well... How did... Can you go back in the stream and see how I did that before? Because I was able to make it, because I was worried I was stuck here too, right? Is there a running start, maybe? Does this game have that kind of, like, ongoing velocity? I don't know if it does. No, see, because you fall down right away and you lose that momentum. Well, I can always reload the save that I had down there. It just feels a little cheap. I might have to. I'm going to give it like 2 more tries and then I guess I'll just restart. Oh, you know what? I'm not using B, that's why. Okay, so once again, I'm falling prey to the classic Metroid blunder of not using B. Because it didn't even occur to me that my jump would go further when I'm using B like that, when I'm using the run button. That's funny. Here I thought that by showing the manual before playing the game, that I'd conquered that problem. Clearly I have not. Can I do it here too to get over this guy? Nope. Other M kept having controller prompts come up, even in the final boss fight. And like, not simple ones saying like X run, but ones that have descriptions of what the actions are. And it's such a total departure from this where, for instance, that's a section where I can really only do it by running and jumping. And the game watches me fail and never has a prompt come up saying, you know, press X and B to, you know, like, you just gotta figure it out. And probably the best place is somewhere in the middle of those two extremes, where you don't want to have controller prompts coming up during a final boss fight. I just think that's not good design. And yet, it's not really a good thing to have someone get stuck in a game like I just did. Purely because they don't know of a control combination, right? Do I save again after that debacle? I don't think so. Okay, so what's over here? Oh, no. I forgot about this room. Oh, God. This is just kind of what you gotta do, though. It's close to death here. It's a good way of building up your internal map of the place, though. Even though it's not a skill that's like particularly strong for me. You know, there's this kind of rote element to it, right? So like I'm going back down here again. I think this is another hot room, right? Yes. It's kind of like studying with note cards, where it's like the first few times you're like for a Spanish class in high school, and you don't remember what that word means at all. And then when the flashcard comes up again the next time, you're like, okay, I think it might mean this, but I'm not sure. And then by the third time, you know exactly what it is. That's kind of what the rooms are like here. It's like you're gonna double back on most, or at least I will. But eventually, you're gonna be able to recognize them, like, as they come up. Hey, welcome, Charlie. This is the first of probably many times where I'm stuck. This is the room with the closing doors, right? Yes. And I don't think I'm able to get through. No. Now there's one up above. I'm assuming that route up top is the way out. This double one is probably it. Yep. That's a nice little design cue where none of these are doubled up. They're all single, and this double one is like just an indication. It's like a pattern has changed, and then you know that's probably where the bomb goes, right? Same as this, you know, it's the same thing there. Gotta go fast, yeah. I think I need the whatever that speed boost is called. Let's get some more health. Okay, let's consult the map here. So I could try to go through the hot room, which sounds like trouble. Typically, not a good idea to go in a room where you can't. Now, do I have the ability to see other maps? I think I can only see this one I'm in. Hot room. Well, I can try the hot room, I guess. I think I'm gonna die, though. It'll be good to get the first die in, yeah. Is that really necessary? Okay, return to game. Is that gonna take me my last save? Oh, that's nice. So I've probably beaten this game 4 times, maybe 5 times. And it's been, I'd say, at least 3 or 4 years since I last did it. Probably 5 years. That's cool, the electricity buzzing through and like it flashes purple for the last few frames. That's just cool. That's cool. Okay, so I lost some of that progress. Let's go over here. Nope, that's where the bloodsuckers are. See, I'm learning here. Yeah, even though I've beaten this game multiple times, you know, it's particularly with my brain, I'm just not going to remember all that stuff, so there's still a lot of discovery and getting lost that's going to happen. And this is the other hot room, right? This is the one where you need the wave beam. Yeah, okay. So let's... That seems like I've explored everything I can. This is power bomb. Yeah, Charlie, if you get the chance, I do recommend you go back to the beginning of the stream at some point, just because it has some good background in the game, and I think the first 15 minutes of the game are just incredibly strong. Okay, so I do have this. Did I do this before? I'm not sure I did. Oh, I did, yeah. Okay, so this is the area where I was saying people can... I almost did there. I almost made it, I feel like. People can sequence break here. It's interesting how even when I'm static... Oh no, I was thinking my jump was better. Look at that, I did it! Was I supposed to do that? I don't know if I was. I don't know if I was supposed to get in here. Maybe. Maybe that was just a tough jump. Well, I was trapped before, so let's move forward. It was another thing I said earlier. I think when this series is at its best, you never know if you're in the right place or not. It's because you feel like you're alone, right? You feel like you're not being guided, even if you are. Oh God, this is tough. All right, these guys are real bastards. I have to get down here. Save? Why not? I'm gonna do a save state first, just in case I wasn't supposed to do that. But I think we go forth boldly here. Okay. Great track, yeah, great track. And I was saying, I don't think that a lot of the later games have really utilized this track as much as they should have. If I recall. I think at least one of them did, but it's such a classic soundtrack in this series. Good lord. And I can't bomb them from there? Come on. It's GTFO. I think this is a spot, isn't it? Sure, it looks like one, is it not? It's not. Okay, let's get out of here. God, brutal. Okay, so what else do I do here? What's up with this door? Why is it... Do I have to... Normally that means I have to kill all the enemies, right? I thought I did last time. Maybe one was in like a hidden little... No? Yeah, they're building with Donkey Kong leftovers. I was watching a Metroid video this week where they kept referring to the Trozo as Samus's bird dad. Or maybe one in particular as her bird dad. Okay, well, maybe that wasn't as magical sequence break as I thought. Unusual for there to be a brown door like that for no reason. Let's get some health at least while I'm trying to figure this out. Yeah. Other M had a lot of locked doors that were just like magically locked until you like saved or something that it wanted you to do. Super Metroid doesn't do that very often, so I'm a little confused why that one is blocked off, but we'll return later, I guess. It's interesting how that super missile barricade is back. Usually you'd expect that they would be a one and done block. What's past the save state? Oh, it's not on the map now. There was a long hallway that had a bunch of blood-sucking aliens and a bunch of blocks also preventing me from going until I get the speed boost later. So we have a door up here. This really feels like a place I'm supposed to be in, right? I'm spamming everything, I'm getting nothing. You know, it's probably linked to the section over here on the upper left. Don't you dare! Ah! It's probably linked to this, which I cannot... Oh, I can't get here. Did I do this already? Oh, mean. So I'd have to shoot that, I guess? Is that gonna come back? Nice, nice, nice. So even though I'm stuck, I'm getting these, like, little moments of discovery. Now I got the Spazer. Spazer is not a term I think is used in any other Metroid game. Maybe the NES one. Yeah, I got those triple beams. I think this is just for power. I don't think this gives me any new ability. But I will take it. Especially like that room with the hard bosses. This would be clutch. Okay, well we're back over here again. We're gonna figure this out. I'm determined not to use a walkthrough in this game because after beating it this many times, that just feels so wrong. But I am about to come to a dead end, I think. So let's now these guys I can't progress until I have Ice Beam. Oh, sharing a save state between people, handing it off. Yeah, that's an interesting thought. I think because this... I'm talking about how this game builds up in such an incremental way. I think that would work if someone was watching the previous stream. Probably. Although they wouldn't have like the muscle memory, you know? I'd be interested to see how that went and if that went well. Oh, right into his jaw. Right into those creepy mandibles. And I didn't even get the super missile. Now, is there a floor? Yeah, you just can't see the floor there. Lucky. Lucky. Now, there's a hidden hole somewhere in this, but it's too soon to use it. It's too soon to be in this room. Although I like how they tease with that little platform where you can go. Oh, someone messed up the save state. Yeah, much could go wrong. I liked how we did it. Jim had that birthday once where we all played Mario. And I liked handing off for the various stars. That was a nice way of splitting it up. Yeah, that's an emulation glitch. I've fully committed to that being an emulation glitch now. Okay, I'm gonna have to get more thorough with like bombing walls and stuff, I guess. They have left me little choice. You know, I would love to go back to Bryn Star, as I said as a kid, but it's not really an option. And I might as well save now that I have the spazer. What'll probably happen is if I get too stuck, I'm just gonna like call it a night. Not what else you can do. But I've still got some gas in the tank here. We can figure this out. But this also feels like one of those situations where if you come back to it, then you'll get it right away with a fresh mind. Okay, yeah, nope, not messing with those guys. It took me a second. Good job. Spazer is Bob Barker's favorite weapon. Okay, so let's go back down here again. That's the hot room. I'm not going to go in. I'm really retreading my steps, much more than I thought I would this early in the game. This is a good place to check again, though. Not a stone left unturned. So we have... This is, yeah. There's nothing else here, right? One of the nice things I think in this game is that it does have a scanner, but it's specifically for finding hidden areas. It's a good way of handling this kind of thing, I think. And then Fusion does not have any kind of way of seeing those hidden areas, but it does really confine you to an even smaller area than this. Yeah, this is a case where it's like, there's not a lot of places I can go. I can only keep trying the same general areas, right? There's the hot room, which I can try, but that just feels like it's asking for trouble, right? It might be the hot room, actually. It might be. So I'm gonna save and try it again, I guess. Stubbornly. Which one's the pachinko level? Is that in 64? Because I did 100% 64, but those later levels I just don't remember as well because I'd never played them as a kid, so it was my first time seeing them. Oh, wait, does the spacer pass through walls? No, that's the waybeam, right? Oh, it was in Sunshine? I don't think I did, no. Come on. Well, we're further. Now, if this is another hot room, I'm definitely ruined. Yeah, there's no way. There's no way. There's no way. Oh, boy. Oh, no. Ah! This can't be the way you have to go, right? Jump into a little hole and on top of one of the boats. I don't recall. I don't recall. I'm just laughing at how it says, find the Metroid larva, try again. That's the only objective you ever get in this game, is in the quit in the game over screen. Funny. Consider myself lucky. Yeah, if it's as traumatizing as it sounds, I think I would have remembered it. But yeah, I had no desire to 100% that game. Okay, I've really exhausted everything down here, and I've died in the hot room, the lava room, and I can't make this run in time, right? Let's run and run and make that one. I cannot make this one. I cannot make this one. Yeah. Okay, there's nothing I can do, and then there's power bombs down there anyways. There's these. And then I think one of these is one of those bricks you can only fall through from the top, right? Metroid larva, yeah. Delicacy in many cultures. Well, making a real fool of myself here in the first stream, huh? I'm the laughing stock of the entire Metroid fan base. What was the trick here? It's not that. Is it letting go a little bit earlier? Like here? Only the best entertainment for you guys. Well, the thing is, even if I make that, it's just one power-up, right? Although there is that save over there. And there's another boss. But this... Wait, what? Did I just do normal... That was a normal jump? What? A normal jump can make it there. Oh, that's the worst discovery I've had this whole time. Oh, good lord. We're all friends here. Okay, so looking at that map, it feels like there was something more to the right here that I didn't really explore. It feels like there's that boss over there. But you know, I got the spazer, so that wasn't all in vain. I think it was a... Look at... That spazer is actually really effective here. You see the difference between the first time and now? And I knew there was a hole there. I knew it. Okay, look at that. And just like that, we're back in business. Just pretend that never happened, you know? That will certainly not be the last time. Oh, we got a little mini boss here. A little taste of what's to come. It's tricky too. Clever girl. I'm sure it's gonna give me more health after this, right? But isn't that funny that you get like a mini version of the boss before you fight them? Yeah, I think I bombed that hole before and it was only susceptible to gunfire. I think you're right. I didn't realize that till you said it, but... Okay, so this is... And that's one thing I think the other games do a better job of. Okay, good, there's a health thing. But I can't use it. The other games do a better job of, like, if you bomb something that, say, requires a missile, you can see it. you know what I mean? Like, even if not every weapon will work in every situation, you at least, like, it'll show you that that's something that another weapon would work on. So this is a great little detail here. I posted about this on the Discord once. Because fans speculate that it's, oh god, what's his name? It's Armstrong something. It's like Flex Armstrong or some terrible name. I don't think it really is him, but you know, he was in the comics that came out around this time. But it's, yeah, it's just this great little foreboding that I'm about to go to a boss fight and I'm seeing this corpse and I can see, you know, the spiky tiles over here for the first time. It's just starting to feel really foreboding. Okay, so I need to use the missile. Oh god. Lyle Smithsonian, maybe. that's one of the other M1s, right? I love having Smithsonian as the last name. That's just pure brilliance. Yeah, I think it's an Armstrong. I think it was an Armstrong. Look at this intro. Great introduction of a villain here. Okay, so I just remembered the mechanic. It's you shoot the eyes when they glow yellow, then you can prep your missiles. And like the last boss, this is giving me opportunity to get health pickups from these boomerangs, I assume. Yeah, although it's not as generous. And now there's these shooting platforms that come out that I have to dodge, or that will carry me back, right? So it's just a great way of like upping the ante from the last boss fight. And yet you saw it's the same mechanic where I shoot the boss and then it gets like darker, so I can tell that I've damaged it. And probably won't take very long. Like, we're getting pretty close, it feels now. Oh yeah, the super... There we go. The super missile really helped us there. I love this, like, bounty of when you beat a boss and there's just all this health and missiles. Some of the games don't have it, and it's just like a great sense of reward. And then you get a power-up, which is... Oh, you get a new suit? Like, God, yeah, talk about reward. Like, I was feeling so stuck, and, like, I wasn't good at the game, and then I beat a boss, and I feel badass, and I get this awesome design of a suit. And it's a great sense of payoff. Look at that. That's just cool, man. That's just cool. And with this suit, I can now go in those hot rooms. So that it's opened up a new path. A lot of dopamine, yeah. Like, honestly, it feels great. And I was reading something that Ron Gilbert wrote about game design this week, and he's talking about puzzle design for adventure games. And he says that when you solve a puzzle, it should feel like 2 more puzzles are introduced, or 2 new paths are introduced, right? And that's what it feels like when you get a power-up in this game, right? Maybe not one like the Spazer, but like when I get the Varia suit now, I feel like it's opened up all these opportunities for me. Oh, and I think people say Varia, I say Varia. It's one of those things where it's just ingrained in me. I'm never going to be able to change it. I'm always going to say Zebes instead of Planet Zebes. Like, just one of those things. Excuse you. It's that track again. I love how many bombs drop when you are charged up like that. It's great. This is a surprisingly hidden save room, you know? I guess your map would have shown it before you get there, but you know, it's nestled away in there. And I don't think there's anything else here. Oh, there is. No. You can tell the design of this block looks a little bit different, right? So that tells me that it could be this bottom right one? No? I wonder what that is. So we know I can drop here, right? It's probably over here, actually. This is where that scanning tool later on really helps you kind of go back and find things. Because I bet there's a missile that's right above this. But I can't figure out how to get there, so we're just going to move on for now. Oh, now I can go through here. Huh. So that was... This is a rare case of Super Metroid blocking you from progressing by kind of an arbitrary means. I think the less of that in these games, the better. Okay, interesting. There's clearly a power-up in here somewhere. It's not just trying to give me a mean room where they attack me. But I'm not finding anything either. Ah, look at that. So for some reason they didn't want me to have this energy tank until after I beat that boss. Oh, excuse you. Yeah, you can see Samus's palette changing again here, right? Like it's not as vibrant and orange, and then it feels like the shadows are crushed a bit. I like how even with the limitations of the console, they were able to kind of integrate her into the scene. Yeah, I got that secret. Feels good. A lot of the later Metroid games, like Other M recently has it, where it shows you where power-ups are and then it changes the icon when you find them. But here you see each of those dots. I don't know which of those the dots represent like some kind of interesting find, right? Some kind of power-up or missile add-on or something like that. But I can't tell which ones I got and which ones I didn't. That's another area where I think the map of this is just a little under-featured. I would love to be able to see door colors in the map, and I'd love to be able to know where I've gotten power-ups and where I haven't. Because that just is the only way to have like a not frustrating 100% experience, right? And not even 100%, but anytime you're just trying to, you know, flesh out your arsenal, find secrets. A lot of fans make a big deal out of finding every block on the map, like visiting every quadrant on that map. Which, you know, in a game like this, it's smart, right? Because it means you don't miss anything, but it can be a bit superfluous. Especially for things like having to screw attack through like a huge room just to get to one random quadrant in the middle. Oh god. Okay, good. I thought that lava might keep going. I was worried it was like a time trial to get out of here before it keeps rising. You know, not that we're going to see that later, but we might. Ah! Oh no, no. Oh no, no. Smooth. Look at that. We're in a totally new area now. So, like, even though this room is no exception to the tiles being really repetitive, right? It's only a handful of tiles it's using. But this feels fresh because it's so different from the last tile set of like the lava rooms, which is different from the ones before that, or the blue ones with the jump where I got stuck for a while. You know, like it's giving variety in ways where it can, even if due to constraints it can't give a ton of variety here. Although this purple is a nice contrast with the green, right? Lava seahorses, yeah. Yeah, I'm not even commenting on the enemies probably as much as I should, but they just feel so familiar to me. It's like, oh, of course there's one of those like bullet insects here. Mother background vibe, yeah, totally. There was a hazy section early in the game where as you drop through a long tunnel, there's this like moving cloud overlay, and that felt very much out of Mother to me. Is this a save room? Some things have stuck with me. I feel like I'm in a groove. I'm gonna keep going a little bit longer. So now there's some spots up here, but no way I can get to those. So I think I need to go on this left side. Yeah, yeah, aren't those cool? Yeah, sorry, that's another thing I'm not properly appreciating here. It's creepy. It's creepy, man. I love it. Those teeth. I love how parts of this you're just not visible in. A lot of the other Metroids, a phrase I've probably said 100 times tonight, a lot of the other Metroids have it, so when you enter one of those tunnels, suddenly the whole tunnel is illuminated, and maybe you drop the exposure of everything else, you know, something like that. The walls that would obscure you disappear. But this one, I like that there are elements where I just can't really see where I am. Okay, what's down here? Hello? Oh, one of those bad boys. No, thank you. And then this looks like something I need the wave beam for. Yep, because that controls on the other side. So let's keep going for now. You know, something hidden lies between. Yeah, that's a great point. It's designed to be like a focal point when, you know, I know just because I've played this game a lot, I knew that that was the entrance, but it's a good way of drawing your eye there. And then you might notice that there's a tunnel with a creature crawling through it, and then you might try bombing, right? Yeah, and then you're right, after the first time you see them and it's kind of special, then they become more ordinary. Oh, I guess we go down. We haven't gone down here yet, have we? Yeah, and here it's all like very much the same tile being repeated, but the tile is like animated in a cool way where it's like a heat distortion in the background. Okay, there's something here. What is there? Is this just a health regeneration room? Might be. It's not a good sign. That means there's something that I would need to regenerate my health with. Wait, let me shoot the ceiling too, just to make sure it's not like that energy tank. It's interesting. Oh, that was really it, huh? Well, I appreciate the power-ups, the pickups. It's funny, I'm just now starting to get in the groove with the controls where I'm like more confident in my jumping, and like it was funny how when I started playing this tonight, like I couldn't remember what buttons did what, and you know, there's a real like physical adjustment. Okay, this is another case of do I go down or do I go over? Oh, this is a whole area, isn't it? You know what's funny? I'm thinking about that spot where I got stuck earlier, and I found that statue with the green missiles, but that's hard to find. I think I found it just because I know to check all of the walls in any room like that now. But did the map show that there was something over there? I could see someone getting stuck, but not in the way I did. Instead, I got stuck at the jump, which was silly, but I could see getting stuck at knowing to even shoot into that section. Oh gosh. Okay. Not doing great here. Oh, speed up a bit. Okay, doing better, doing better. Great, 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 great. yeah. Typically, shooting ceilings is frowned upon when spelunking. Oh! Okay, at least I can land it. I wasn't sure I'd be able to land. This is gonna be a tricky one too. Yeah, not. Maybe if I start in the ball and then I drop down, that might be smoother. There we go. Oh, I like how the gravity just slowly pushes it down. That's a nice little way of making you not feel like too safe. Look at these sassy seahorses. You're gonna see another one. Gosh. Let me go through here first. Creatures with thrusters, yeah. I'm not sure I can do anything in this room yet. This feels like a not yet room. Another important part of the Metroid franchise is the not yet room. And I think it's a sign of good design in these when I can tell when I shouldn't be there yet fairly quickly, versus just wondering what I'm missing and if, you know. Yeah. Okay. You're still getting that great variety from room to room, right? Like, look at the tile in the back of this room, that animated heat distortion one. And then here... Oh, it's just that the bottom has the brighter embers and then it's dark up top. That's a great little detail. That's a great way of mixing it up. And then this one is a bit more cavernous, right? I didn't have that hard to kill him right away. I wanted to look at him a little longer. So this is like the same background effect, but it looks like a different tile. Oh, hey, we made it. Looks like we made it. Tricky, tricky. Okay. All right. Ceiling boogers. What do you mean about ceiling boogers? Although I do like the glow here. Oh, and I need the grapple beam here. Look, you can even see just the way that Samus's sprite is glowing, like that kind of like strobing glow effect. That's really nice. I wonder if they had the capability to do that as an overlay, or if it had to be a separate sprite map for every one of these like palette changes or effects, you know. But like, it's just a great way of integrating her into the scenes when it could just be the same sprite plopped on top of a background. It's like an extra mile thing that I think really pays off. Oh, he got me. Son of a gun. I like the little explosions that happen when you kill bosses too. And like that sound, it's, you know, in the Rumble Pack era, it gives you the sensation of a Rumble Pack just to hear that like really like, I don't know how to describe it, just that really chunky explosion sound. Okay, well, we fought hard to get here, so let's go through this door first. The chicken dance, yeah, it is doing the chicken dance. It looks crazy. Or like these when they explode, the way just the little pieces fly everywhere. It's great. Now, is this a lava room that I can fall in without getting hurt? Nope. I believe there are some of those in this game, but that was real lava. I think that's one of the meaner things you can do is to have a fake lava pit. But so the way they give you a hint here is that you look at that map and you can see that there's something above me because there's no white line above this room. And that's an indicator to shoot up, right? I looked very smart shooting in the exact right spot, but that was an accident. that was pure luck. But yeah, that's a nice way of very subtly giving a cue of like, okay, there's something more to explore in this room. That and the fact that it's, you know, hard to get to this room and there wasn't any payoff upon arriving. So that's another sign that you should probably keep looking. Oh, I just realized, Jim, you were talking about you like the background. I do too. I think it's official art. It's very similar to the box cover, but it's also different bosses in the background and some different shading. But that's just me and OBS dropping it behind, if that's what you meant. Look at that. Look at that. What could it be? Speed boost. All right. So this is another example where like I now have all these opportunities for rooms where I could speed boost. Oh no. Is this the lava rising? It is. Oh no. Oh, oh no. Oh shoot! Oh no! Oh, I'm so dead. I don't know if that's ever happened to me before. Okay, good. I can. It resets. Thank goodness. I would have to be more careful. Do I use save states? That just feels like. It feels like I shouldn't. I think that's a bad precedent for me to set with save states. So I think I just need to try again. Here we go, here we go. Oh, look at that. Cool. I suppose it would have been very mean of them to have made it so you can't backtrack to the other room. I think that was a good call. They have the lava rising as like a cue for what will happen in the next room, but then they set it back low again. I think that's nice of them. Okay, and with this, we can also shine spark now, which I think is it in the manual? I'll check that maybe before the next stream. I don't want to break up the flow now to check the manual. Although actually, I might call it a stream here. Because then we have a lot of new stuff to do in the next one. So let me pull up that manual real quick. I was saying I had a couple PDF options, but I loved going with this beat up one because this is exactly what mine looks like. Just, you know, it's been loved. It's well worn. But there's some great art in this. It's in the beginning of the stream if you want a more detailed look. Here's the infamous dash button. And then I'm curious if it shows shine sparking as a thing. Yeah, so here it's telling you what each block means. That's another thing where it's like they're kind of banking on you having this supplemental material. It's showing off those suits. Run at high speed, speed booster. Yeah, it doesn't mention the shine spark. And just to clarify, it's a niche term. The shine spark is when you're doing the speed boost and then you stop and then you are able to harness that energy to like shoot up into the air like you have a jetpack or something, and you can break through blocks that way. And there's only one section I can think of in the game where you have to use it, and I'll make sure to get there because I think it's an important thing to highlight. But yeah, anyways, thanks for watching, guys. This was fun. Glad you could join, and again, these enemy drawings are great. I'm really enjoying this, and I'm enjoying looking at it with more of a critical, like artistic eye than I would have had as a kid. It's nice. Just think about like palettes and tile sets and stuff. Cool. Well, have a good night, guys. I'm looking forward to doing this again on Thursday, I believe, is my plan. Mondays and Thursdays until Metroid Dread, which comes out on the 8th. Alrighty. How do I end this?